तो अगरबत्ती ऑफर करने की विधि है, 2 तरीके से ऑफर कर सकते हैं। भगवान के चरण कमल पे 3 सर्कल कर सकते हैं और फिर पूरा शरीर का 7 सर्कल, और फिर भगवान को प्रणाम करके वापस रख दे सकते हैं अगरबत्ती। दिए से जब आरती करते हैं तो भगवान के चरण कमल का 3 सर्कल करते हैं। भगवान का जो वक्ष स्थल है, छाती और वेस्ट, उसका 2 सर्कल करते हैं। भगवान के मुखारविंद का 4 सर्कल करते हैं और फिर भगवान के पूरे शरीर का 7 करते हैं। कई लोग नीचे पैर पे 4, बीच में 2, मुख पे 3 और 7 ऐसा भी करते हैं। कई लोग सीधा 7 पूरा शरीर को भी करते हैं। सब अलग अलग तरीके से आरती करते हैं। अगरबत्ती से भी पूरा 7 भगवान को सर्कल कर सकते हैं, कोई एक ऐसा स्टैंडर्ड नहीं है। तो इफ एनीबडी वुड लाइक टू डू दैट, प्लीज फील फ्री। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी
नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने।
नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी प्रचार सतारिणे।
नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे
Bhavya, you can clap. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Jachadipata Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. All kids can sing, we should sing. You know the Mahamantra? So everybody should sing, huh? After me. Let's try. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Laddu Gopal, Laddu Gopal, Laddu Gopal, Jaya Laddu Gopal,
Laddu Gopal, Laddu Gopal, Laddu Gopal, Jaya Laddu Gopal.
Jaya Laddu Gopal, Jaya Laddu Gopal, आनंद जी, श्री लड्डू गोपाल की जय, श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महाराज की जय, राधा बिहारी राधा रमन जी भगवान की जय, राधा गोपीनाथ जी राधा मधुर भगवान की जय, सरस्वती मुंड की जय, गौर निताय की जय, नित्यानंद चंद्र की जय, श्री गोपाल की। Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, first of all, we will chant one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And तो मेरा भी जप माला ले लेंगे।
है पूरी मन
हाँ मेरे
पक्के हो गए हैं। जितने ज़्यादा इसको बजाओगे ना अच्छा we're getting stronger.
What hurts too much? I thought you were a strong boy. So before chanting Hare Krishna, you want jap mala too?
I have.
You should chant. सबको करने का, अंश भी करेगा. Your name is Molly? Huh? Nickname. What's your real name? Anisha. That's pretty nice. Anisha, Molly, and what's your name, beta? Sharanya. Wow, I never heard that name before. Very nice name. You have brothers or sisters?
This is one.
Thank you. Dear. No? You have to talk to your parents.
माला से
So Bhavya will also do one jap mala. Bhavya, beta?
अबे यूज माला अच्छा नहीं आया
So before chanting one mala, we'll show how to chant. Okay? Does Sharanya know how to chant? We don't use this finger. We use the second finger and the thumb. Hare Krishna. And
Don't use this finger.
we go onto the first bead like this. Or you can hold the way, whatever way you want to hold. Didi ko bhi ek jap mala de do.
Right hand. Take the right hand. Hold it with this. Not with this finger. You don't use this finger. Hold it with this and thumb.
मैं दिखाता हूँ आपको कैसे करना है. एक है इसके लिए. Mala is just little smaller than you. So this is jap mala, right? So we go to the first bead and we don't use this first finger. We just hold it like this on the second finger. Okay. Or another way of doing it, you can also do it like this. But this is the best way. You hold it with your thumb. You're supposed to move the beads backwards. With the thumb. Ansh, yes, beta. Just put it here like this and then roll like this. And if you do it like 1,000 times, you'll know it by. So, on the first bead, when we come, the mantra we chant is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Then we push the bead back, go on to the second one. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We push it back, go to the third one. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Finally, we come to the last one. And we say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So like this, one japamala is over. There is 108 beads in one mala. Why there are 108 beads? There is 108 is a very significant number in our Vedic culture. There is 108 principal gopis, 108 Upanishads. So it is counted to be a very auspicious number. So there is 108 beads here. And the devotees who chant more than one round of Japmala, this is one round, 108 times. So if you're chanting more than one, if you're chanting, let's say 2, then you don't cross the middle beat. Middle beat is called Krishna, the boss, right? It is not considered to cross over the adults. Even in our home, you don't see it much here, but as we were discussing last time, in India, between the 2 rooms, if somebody is sitting with their legs extended, you never cross them. You ask them to please move your legs and you walk, around them. That is called the culture, etiquette. So here also we don't cross this middle beat, which is Krishna beat. We just turn around our Japmala and again start like this. Okay? So we will read a small paragraph which talks about the glories of chanting, why we should be chanting, especially in this Kali Yuga, and then we will chant. Sri Namam, who are suffering greatly. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Or we should just chant first and then we will read about this, right?
ठीक है.
So, let us chant. Everybody knows the mantra? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
राम राम हरे हरे.
So let's begin chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. And I have seen small kids, they are now doctors, some of them are engineers, some of them have married and have their own children now. I have seen them grow up. And the parent would always bring the children to all the spiritual programs with them. They would make the children sit in the kirtan, they would make them sit. And it was not by force, but they would tell them that this is important, you should sit. And you should slowly get habituated to, while we are chanting or when we are singing kirtan and so on, to be here. Then there were Sunday school programs also in the temple. So the kids would learn our culture, why one should wear sari, what are traditional dresses, why to not dress in a certain way, why to bend and offer respect to our elders, why to perform arti, why are we doing this, why are we doing that. So many things that we grew up with, which we took for granted, right? Here children don't see all those things. And it is hard for them to relate to all these things. And then eventually they just let it go. And once they let it go, it's very hard that it will ever come into their children, ever. Right? I mean, the connection is lost. Plus, I think if we give Krishna consciousness to our children, it is an insurance policy for their well-being in the future also. That when they go to the college, when they go to the school, when there is peer pressure as they're growing up, they're equipped with their own principles and something which they are proud of, they have faith about it, and they will be able to decide for their own good what should be done and what should not be done, right? A lot of parents have told me that, we are trying to do these things for our children, but God knows what will happen once they go to high school or once they go to the college. But if we have tried our best to give them all the etiquettes, all the social customs, all Krishna consciousness that we have, and a child is connected to that, I think it itself works as an insurance policy. It is, even today when I go to, we sometimes to celebrate the success at the quarter ends or at the year end, they take us to the bar or to the sports bar or something, and then a lot of people are drinking beer and eating or non-vegetarian food, meat and so on. And the peer pressure is very high. I know one person, one young man, he is a mechanical engineer. He came from India. He comes from a very religious family, and he was quite religious also. But he did not understand the concepts of religion, right? So when he came here, did his master's in mechanical engineering, He started working for some construction company. And afterwards, one day he told me that, when I go out, I started drinking beer and I started eating chicken, and now he eats everything. He says, I wanted to fit in with my people, otherwise I thought I was left out. But and I have seen, on the other hand, I have seen so many children who were born and brought up here, but they were connected to the Krishna consciousness from their childhood. And they are doctors, they are directors in the company, they are having big posts, and they have never they wear kantimala, they go to work, and they have still maintained a vegetarian diet. And even at my work also, people respect. Even if I go to somebody's house for a party, they make sure I have something for me. They'll make some pasta or some salad, and they'll make sure it's not made in equipment where they cook meat and so on. They'll have drinks for me, which is non-alcoholic drinks. They respect your individuality. People will respect, but you have to respect your own individuality first. That is when they will respect your individuality. If you let go of your individuality, they will not. So our children should also have their own individuality like that, right? So, and it is up to us, the parents, to give it to them. So probably through this program, we can try to give them their own individuality, and that I have been born in an Indian family. What is my values? What is my culture? What is the goal of my life? And when equipped with this kind of knowledge, they can make decisions about their future, and we can be assured that they will make good and right decisions. So we were thinking of having simultaneously children's classes as we are having here for us, right? So it will be easier if we can say every week, rather than only one person doing it and always missing the program here, it will be nice if all the parents can take turn, right? And what we will do is we'll have like 5 or 6 weeks of material all laid out, what needs to be given to the children, right? So the parents will have, all the parents will have that material. They can start working that material at home with the children at the pace they want. But then they know that this week this was taught, next week I have to teach this to the children if it is my turn. So when we come, we can easily teach the children. And then the other parent who has the turn, they also know that last week this was taught, the week before this was taught, and this week I have to teach this, and next week this will be taught. So does this sound good, that the parents take turn? Is that okay? I mean, this is a sacrifice or endeavor we do for our own children. And occasionally Preksha, my wife, can also come, and she can also take a class here for the children. And some other devotees from Harrisburg can also sometimes come and give you a break, and you can sit here and they can take a class, right? And I was thinking that when we chant one round, we should all chant together. The children should also chant, because chanting the holy name is very important aspect of our. Every time we see our grandparents or elderly people or any sadhu, we see them with a japmala. Japmala is very essential. Even in Muslim religion, they chant on the beads. Even in Christianity, they chant on the beads. They call it rosary, right? So chanting is a very important aspect, and I think our children should learn that. Right? It should not remain foreign. So we should all chant together. We should do the kirtan together. See if we can all come, do 10 minutes kirtan together, so children also learn. And slowly, it is my desire that the children also start doing kirtan. It's not very difficult to sing Hare Krishna. It is my sincere request that in the evening, if we can find at least 15 minutes to sit together as a family in front of this whatever small temple we have at home, right? So children know that in the evening, it was the rule in our house. Sandhya Kal, you have to be at home. 7 o'clock, you are not. As soon as it is dusk, you have to be home. You cannot be outside. And at dusk, it was a rule that everybody would do arti together. So we would just sit down together, sing together, and we all knew what we had to sing. And that was just a habit. Then, for the starting, in the beginning, my parents had to tell me. Then it became a habit. After coming here, and it also remained as a habit. So if we as a family can come together, right, and sing for Hare Krishna or something for 5-10 minutes. And then there is a wonderful books. There is one book called Krishna book, which is extremely beautiful. Prabhupada has written the whole pastimes of Krishna in different chapters. So as a family, maybe one person can read at least 1 or 2 pages of Krishna book together. If nothing, it serves as a family time, a bonding time between the children and the parents, right? Which is extremely essential. And then the best thing on top of it is having dinner together every day. So if we can do at least dinner together every day, but if not dinner, at least 15 minutes sitting together, 10 minutes chant Hare Krishna together, and then 5-7 minutes read from the Krishna book together. It's just story. Children will enjoy, we will enjoy. And it's some kind of binding time between the parent and the children. And believe me, if we do this consistently, every day, no matter what, some days we have to go out, so then we can do it early before we go out or after we come back. But if we do it consistently, the children will feel proud about it. They will learn, we will learn, and they will bond with the parents so much. They will not go back to their own rooms and so on. Some bond is required between parents and children. So, does this sound okay or something which is very much needed to be done or doable? Right? So, if we can agree that, let's do the chanting together here, Hare Krishna, and let's do the kirtan together, and then the children can go up, and then whoever, Mataji or Prabhuji who's doing the activity, and we can also decide whether 2 people is needed or 1 people is needed. If 2 is needed, then husband wife both can go. If 1 person is needed, then we can take turn whether husband can go or wife can go, right? And then have some activities for the children, teach them some basic culture. By that time, we'll do our thing here and then have prasadam together. Is that okay? So,
Win-win.
it's a win. Yeah, it's actually we have entered an era where only thing that works is win-win. Win-lose never works, lose-lose never works, lose-win never works. Only thing that works for everybody is win-win, right? So, and especially the Indian families, we live for our children, honestly. I mean, as soon as we have a child at home, even though you like Karela, if the child doesn't like Karela, no more Karela sabji will be made at home, right? The only time you make Karela sabji is when children are going to eat somewhere outside and they are not going to eat. That is when you make Karela. Our life, even the things we watch, we see, we do, it's all rotating around the children, right? Children is even the money we save for our children, right? We don't try to spend extra money, nothing. I mean, that is the culture we got in our heritage, right? So we have to pass that culture to our children so that our grandchildren are safe. हमारे गुजराती में कहावत है कि असल से सूद ज़्यादा प्यारा होता है सबको. असल होता है अपना बच्चे और सूद होता है बच्चे के बच्चे. हाँ, तो अगर बच्चे के बच्चे को इंश्योरेंस करना है कि they are safe and they go on the right path, we have to give in our children Krishna consciousness. Because unless it comes in our children, they will not pass. छोटी सी बात है, जैसे रक्षाबंधन. किसी किसी घर के 2 बेटियां होती है, भाई होता ही नहीं है. वहाँ रक्षाबंधन बंद हो गया और फिर यहाँ पे पेरेंट्स ने ज़्यादा केयर नहीं किया रक्षाबंधन के बारे में, तो बच्ची भूल जाएगी रक्षाबंधन क्या है. अब देखेगी राखी कोई बांध रहा है किसी के, but they don't have the importance in their life. And then if they have 2 kids eventually, they will neglect neglect Rakshabandhan, right? And then that tradition is lost forever. कल ही हमारे यहाँ हैरिसबर्ग में गणेश चतुर्थी का प्रोग्राम था, तो गणेश विसर्जन था कल. So the children they have no chance, right? I don't think any child here this year saw Ganesh Visarjan. I mean, hardly 1 or 2 might have seen Ganesh Visarjan. और अगर ऐसे बहुत सारे साल हो जाएंगे, then they will forget what is Ganesh Visarjan. In India, we grew up with Ganesh Visarjan. Whether somebody told us in the class or in a school about Ganesh Visarjan or not, गली गली मोहल्ले मोहल्ले में गणेश जी होता है और फिर उनका विसर्जन होता है, स्कूल में भी छुट्टी होता है, बहुत मजा आता है, right? We enjoy. That culture is infused in us. But here, I think we have to forcefully give it to our children. So if we don't have Ganesh Visarjan going on someplace, it is lost. And when their children will come, they will think Ganesh is a funny cartoon character who has an elephant head and has a big belly, and it's a mythological character, and that's all it remains at the end of the day. Right? So it is incumbent upon us that we give it to our children, because believe it or not, our parents gave it to us, and their parents gave it to them. So we have to keep the flame running, right? And the flame alive and burning. So it is very, very necessary. I'll tell you honestly, there is one girl, it is very shameful for me to say this, but when I was doing my master's degree, I used to stay with my uncle. He had a daughter at that time, she was 12 or 13. And our neighbor, there was another girl who was 12 or 13. They both used to go to the same school. Her name was Aarti, and my cousin's name was Sonali. So Aarti used to come to the ISKCON Hare Krishna temple. So I saw Aarti going up in Krishna consciousness, while Sonali, my cousin, never used to go to the temple, nothing. Right now, Sonali is a doctor. Aarti is also a doctor. But when you see Aarti, she's so grounded. The kind of clothes she will wear, that she'll always put appropriate makeup. Not like my cousin, even if she has to go to buy milk, she'll take 15 minutes to get ready to go and get milk because she has to put foundation and she cannot go without her hair. But Aarti knows what is needed for what time and she can go out. Her clothes are very decent. As soon as she comes into the house, she will acknowledge the elder sitting in the room. आजकल बच्चों को देखेंगे वो आएंगे तो कितने लोग एल्डर बैठे हैं उनको देखेंगे भी नहीं, अपना फोन लेके घूमते घूमते कहीं और चले जाएंगे, राइट? हमारा वो कल्चर नहीं था. जितने भी किसी के माता पिता बैठे हैं हम पैर छूते थे उनके कि कैसा है आप, ये है वो है करके. All these subtle things, right? And I'm very sure when the life partner she chose, he's very grounded, right? So she had a particular desire that my husband should be like this because I have this kind of culture. Her parents didn't have to worry that when she goes to college, will she be in a wrong company or not? Kuch bhi nahi. And now she has her first baby. The baby's name is after Krishna's name. She's already started bringing baby to this temple, and I'm sure the baby is going to grow in Krishna consciousness. So this is like, it's very soothing for us to see कि चलो foreign country में भी है फिर भी हमारे बच्चे गलत direction में नहीं जा रहे हैं करके. So it is very essential. And जैसा टेनिस में phrase होता है, we have to catch them while they are young. कभी कभी after they become too big, it is very hard to mold them because now they have their set ways of doing things, right? So this is the right age for our children to catch them, to mold them, and by conditioning anything can happen. So we have to condition them in the right way. And unfortunately, they are still too small. Their mind is very komal, very soft. They can adopt to anything. They are like sponge. Sponge kahin pe bhi dalo. Sponge, nature is to absorb. The children are like sponge. They will absorb. Unfortunately, we have to make sure they don't absorb the wrong things, and we make the right things available for them to absorb all the time. Okay? So what we'll do is probably, with your permission, we'll just make a roster that this week this family will take care of the class, next week this family will take, next week this. And within the family, they can decide whether husband and wife both want to take care of the children, or just the wife or just the husband. They can take turns. Now, for example, she's an expert artist and she's pretty grounded also. I have seen her. This is the third time I'm seeing her. And she listens very attentively. So she could be a good role model for the children also. Honestly, I feel that, she can teach them so much. And she herself is like a very keen listener. I can see her absorbing all the time. So, and we need children like that who are role model for other children, right? So when Bhavya and everybody, Saranya is growing up, they can look up to her. They can ask her questions. They make lifelong relationships, right? The things that they cannot talk with the parents or mother, they can talk with her, right? And say, I'm having this kind of difficulty. This child is bullying me. What can I do about this? Can you help me out? They form like a elder sister, elder brother kind of relationship. Yes, Dr. Sir? So, if this makes sense, I think we should proceed in that direction. It is going to be painful in the beginning. There'll be growing pain. We'll be learning how to do things. But we'll just have to weather it out. We have to give it time and things will work out.
जी बच्चों के लिए अलग से कृष्ण बुक आती है.
हाँ वो मैच लेने आया मुझे मिला
आउट ऑफ प्रिंट करो.
नहीं मैं लेके आऊँगा मैं. मेरे पास एक है. I have one.
मेरे पास भी एक है.
So let's make copy of it and give it to them. वो कृष्ण बुक में they have pastimes of Krishna and then they have question answers and activities.
It will come out nice.
Yeah.
Pictures वगैरह हैं बच्चों को पसंद आएगा.
हाँ. So we should make copy of it. And I brought lot of books here also for children. So whoever is teaching, we can make a small library. The parents can take some books, they can read and they can read it to the children also. And when I go again, I'm going to Vrindavan in October end. So I can bring more books. Right? And there is websites also which we can share. The parenting is extremely important role. Inviting a soul in our life is a full of responsibility. And only ones who has ability to respond should invite a child in their life, because we're not just bringing teddy bear for our enjoyment in our life. Now, children are not just teddy bears, right? They are so cute, so nice, and now I want another baby to play with, so now we have another baby. I've seen so many families. They'll tell their husband, the husband or wife will talk to each other, oh, I miss a small child to play with, let's have another baby. It's not teddy bears from Walmart, right? Or we the souls, they come through expert arrangement. And today we'll read how souls come in our life. They come by expert arrangement of the nature. And the parents have a big responsibility towards the souls which are coming in our house as our children. And especially the human birth is very rare. That a soul is getting a human body. It's an extremely rare occasion that happens. So we have to honor them and give them all the equipment to make it successful. ठीक है? So आज तो दीदी आप बच्चों को
आज तृप्ति क्लास ले रही है।
दीदी करेंगे। और आप जो यहाँ पे मिस करेंगे, मैं आपको बाद में फोन पे या पर्सनली प्रसाद लेते लेते आपको I'll share with you. And whoever misses whatever going here, two options. You can look through the video, or I can personally, sit while we are taking prasadam and I can take it through. I'm very fond of talking, so I will never be tired. And I've been married 18 years. I don't get to talk much at home. So any occasion I get to talk, I will use it fully. That is why Matajis cannot become dentist. You'll see very few dentist Matajis because they cannot ask the other man to open their mouth.
रोस्टर प्रभु जी फिर will do later or
Yeah, जो जितने अपने families आते हैं,
I'll talk to everybody.
especially जिसके बच्चे हैं, we'll make a roster and so today we'll pray to Laddu Gopal that all our children will become into dynamic children, full of values.
आकांक्षा तृप्ति तृप्ति आकांक्षा को यहाँ बैठना तो वैसे
हाँ, Akanksha can sit here. She is quite big if she wants.
But all the younger ones need her.
That's
Lord
fine,
said
that's fine.
Akansha come
Okay,
with us.
okay.
Unless that they allow her to come.
Okay,
to us.
okay,
I
okay,
want
that's
her to
fine.
be in this discussion.
Live in the
This
last
is in
page
the
of the
handout.
last page of the folder.
I'll briefly go through that because I think the main topic is the science of reincarnation. So we'll discuss about that today. But I wanted to little bit talk about the nectar of the holy name. So I'll read from it. In Kali Yuga, a lot of people nowadays they say, right? Yes, Chopra, B.R. Chopra has made this sloka very famous. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthana madharmasya tidatmanam srajamyaham. Yada yada hi dharmasya. Whenever, yada yada. Hey Arjun, dharmasya means people when they forget their duty in their life. Dharma means not religion. Dharma means duty, really speaking. So, whenever people forget the duty in their life, Galanir bhavati bharata. Galanir means किसी का मुख ग्लानी से भर जाना. Galanir bhavati माने मैला हो जाना, decline हो जाना. Bhavati हो जाना. Bharata, hey Arjun, or descendants of Bharat Maharaj. Tad abhyutthanam adharmasya. I come. Why? To abhyuttha. Abhyutthanam. To overthrow the irreligion and establish the religion. I come. Okay? Tudatmanam srajamiham. That is why I come again and again. So then people can say that right now so much irreligiosity is prevalent and so many useless things are going on. So why is Krishna not incarnating right now? So in the Shastra Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th canto, Krishna says when he is leaving this planet, he is telling Uddhav. Uddhav is asking that, hey Krishna, now when you will be gone, who will be here? Who will save us? So Krishna says, in Kali Yuga, I am present in two forms, and in other Yuga, I incarnate and stay for some time. But in Kali Yuga, I am remaining forever in two forms. One is in the form of my holy name. I stay. I have invested all my energy in my holy name. Do not think that my holy name is different than me. The holy name, the sound energy is very powerful. Since Krishna is complete, for us we are material beings. So for us the holy name is different than the object. For example, if we are thirsty and if we say water, it does not quench our thirst, right? Because water, the physical water is different than the name water. But in the spiritual world, when everything is in absolute platform, the name and the nami, they are one and the same, right? So if you embrace Krishna personally, the pleasure you get out of that, the same kind of pleasure you get by taking his name. A very loose connection, or very loosely I can give an example. If somebody is in love with somebody, right, and that person gets to see that person he loves, he'll feel a lot of pleasure or satisfaction. But the same kind of pleasure satisfaction he or she gets just by taking that person's name. We may find it funny, right? When we were discussing that a lot of people who are in love, they keep in the last page of their notebook, they keep writing, right? We were talking that day, they draw a heart and put an arrow through it and they write their other person's name, right? But they derive so much joy. And it is funny, it looks like childish, but really speaking, they derive a lot of pleasure. It gives them satisfaction. Because the love, the bhakti is nothing but defined as love. When the love becomes more and more purer, it goes more and more closer to bhakti. Bhakti is just loving exchanges, right? So by taking the name of the person we love, we feel satisfaction as if I'm seeing that person. And similarly, Krishna is an absolute platform. For example, if you're in a dark room and somebody just says the word snake, you're camping, for example, in a dark area, and suddenly somebody says snake, 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 everybody, at least somebody, the hairs will stand on the end, somebody will stand up, and the fear will, so just the name itself is so powerful that it will induce fear. The sound energy is very powerful. And on the absolute platform, the name, the Nam and the Nami, the name and the person whose name, they're all same, one and the same. So Krishna says, I have come in the form of my holy name. When we chant the name of Krishna, Krishna says, I come and I sit on your tongue. I manifest in your heart. And you will get the same pleasure as you're hugging me. And I manifest myself. And the second form Krishna is appearing in this Kali Yuga is in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is 18 canto and 18,000 sloka. And Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna says, I am residing in my form of Srimad Bhagavatam. So those two forms Krishna is residing in Kali Yuga. So therefore, Prabhupada is writing in Kali Yuga, Krishna has incarnated as the holy name in order to deliver the sinful who are suffering greatly. In Kali Yuga, we tend to make so many sins, even if we don't want to. I'll give one example. The taxes we give, I don't want to ask is anybody pro-abortion or not, right? Some people may have their own belief whether he's pro-abortion or not. But it is a genuine fact that a child who's coming in the womb, when the child is aborted, there is some sins involved with that, right? If you believe in Vedic culture. So, whether you yourself participate in it or not, the tax money that you give, the charity that you give, right? Some of the money is being allocated from that to support the aids which is going to the hospitals which will do abortion. Some of the money that we are paying in the tax is being given to fund the wars which are going, and in the war, हमारे गुजराती में कहावत है कि सब्जी के साथ कभी कभी कॉलीफ्लावर का सब्जी बनाएंगे तो कितना भी साफ करो कोई ना कोई worms तो cook हो ही जाता है उसके साथ साथ. Similarly, when they throw the bombs on Iraq or Iran, Iraq or Baghdad, along with the enemies, and who is saying that they are defined as enemy? Before, the demons had two horns and they were publicly doing adharma. Right now, this country thinks the other country is their enemy, right? The other country similarly is thinking this country is there. There is no fine, it's a very fine line, whether who is wrong and who is right. But our tax money is funding, right, the slaughter of people from other country. Isn't that true? And also, it is our own family and friends are going from this country and they also get killed, right? So all this thing, not a single action is without reaction. So whether you personally do or not, you get some karma out of that, right? So similarly, we are all leading life which is full. There are some scenes are always happening in this Kali Yuga. So to eradicate, to help, Krishna has come as his holy name. So when we chant his holy name, by the presence of Krishna, slowly, our tendency to do sins will go away. Slowly. Our heart will get purified and we will come on the right platform. So, I just wanted to touch base that much. And also, as we discussed last couple of times, I'm again going to repeat that in this age of Kali, it is very hard to meditate, right? It is very hard to perform sacrifices because we cannot find right Brahmins to do the sacrifices. We cannot find ingredients to do the sacrifices. And nowadays when they do the ahuti in the yagna, they are just using lakde ka bhusa. अब जब यज्ञ का principle ये है that when you put ahuti, Agnidev takes that ahuti and he uses that and gives it to Vishnu first, then he gives it to Indra. हम ahuti देते तो बोलते idam Vishna, idam namama. ये विष्णु के लिए है, ये मेरे लिए नहीं है ऐसा. इदम इंद्राय इदम नमः, इदम वरुणाय इदम नमः, इदम सूर्याय इदम नमः, इदम अग्नि इदम नमः. ये अग्नि के लिए, सूर्य के लिए है, वरुण जी के लिए है. तो जो जो आहुति दी जाती थी तो वो ले लेके उनको दिया जाता था। अब लकड़े का भूसा दिया जाएगा, तब सोचिए आपको किसी के घर पे खाने के लिए बुलाया, आपको लकड़े का भूसा परोसे अच्छे से कुक करके मसाला डाल के, कौन खाएगा? कोई नहीं खाएगा, राइट? So similarly, nowadays, you do MDH or whatever that comes mix. It's all lakde ka bhusa and they put some ghee in it, right? So, right, yagna is not possible, elaborate deity service is not possible, right? So, only thing which is possible, Krishna has given us is chanting of the holy name. और भगवान ने कहा है कि जो भी फल यज्ञ करने से मिलता था, ध्यान धरने से मिलता था, तप करने से मिलता था, मेरी एलोबरेट विग्रह की सेवा करने से मिलता था, उतना ही इजीली तुमको खाली मेरा हरि नाम लेने से मिल जाएगा। तो कलयुग में हरि नाम बहुत जरूरी है। हर एक आदमी के घर पे एक शस्त्र होना चाहिए। शस्त्र क्या है? जप माला। जप माला का शस्त्र है। एवरीबडी अंडरस्टैंड्स हिंदी? गुड। See, you don't. I'm so sorry, Prabhu.
No, that's okay, but you still talk in English. That's
Yeah, I will talk in English much. I will not switch into Hindi. Sometimes I have a habit to.
I can follow you.
Okay. You don't watch Bollywood?
He does, lot of.
From South India. So.
Yeah, okay. So, one weapon we all need to have in our house. That weapon is Japamala, the 108 beads. We have to use it every day. It's like a vitamin C pill that we take, or 1 a day pill. When we chant every day, it gives us enough immunity to go for the day. And I'll tell you, you can do an experiment. We are all students of science. Wake up in the morning, before you go to work, just take a nice shower. When you're feeling very peaceful early in the morning, the children have not yet woke up, sit down in front of Krishna, and if you want, you can light a little agarbatti and then chant attentively for 10 or 12 minutes. It's like 1 or 2 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Speak softly and you listen through your ears and focus, right, while you want what you're chanting. I'm telling you, you'll feel so calm and peaceful. You're ready to face the whole day, and your day will be so pleasant and peaceful. And even if you increase your experiment, when you come home, right, take a nice shower and again chant for 5-7 minutes or 10 minutes. And then you'll see, you'll feel so relieved, no stress. You will not be kitch on your children, not on your wife, not in a husband. You'll be very pleasant mood. You'll have a nice good night's sleep, and next day morning you again do this. Okay. So this is a small experiment we can do, but I would request everybody to at least chant 1 round every day. It is positive energy that will come through us from the sound energy of chanting. So today we wanted to read a small piece of article which is called Coming Back. This is from the book called Science of Self-Realization, written by Srila Prabhupada. So I will read and then we'll discuss this paragraph. You can follow with me in the handouts. 2 children are born at the same time on the same day. The parents of the first are wealthy and well educated and have anxiously awaited the arrival of their firstborn for years. Their child, a boy, is bright, healthy, and attractive, with a future full of promise. Surely, destiny has smiled upon him. The second child enters into an entirely different world. He is born to a mother who was abandoned while pregnant. In her poverty, she feels little enthusiasm to rear her sickly new offspring. The road ahead is fraught with difficulties and hardships, and to rise above them will not be easy. The world is full of discrepancies like this, blatant inequalities that often provoke questions. How could Providence be so unfair? What did George and Mary do to have their son born blind? They are good people. God is so unkind. The principles of reincarnation, however, allow us to view life with a much broader perspective from the standpoint of eternity. From this point of view, one brief lifetime is seen not as the beginning of our existence, but as nothing more than a flash in time. And we can understand that an apparently pious person who may be suffering greatly is suffering greatly. It is 2 times written. That apparently a pious person who may be suffering greatly is suffering the effects of impious activities performed in this or previous lives. With this broader vision of universal justice, we can see how each individual soul is alone responsible for its own karma. Our actions are compared to seeds. Initially they are performed or planted, and over a course of time they gradually fructify, releasing the resultant reactions. Such reactions may produce either suffering or enjoyment for the living being, and he may respond by either improving his character or by becoming increasingly animal-like. A criminal chooses to enter prison by willful transgression of law, but another may be appointed to sit on the Supreme Court by the dint of his excellence of service. This is the special benediction of human life. Even if one is destined to suffer terribly for impious acts performed in this and previous life, one can by taking up the process of Krishna consciousness change his karma. The soul in a human body stands at the evolutionary midpoint. From here, the living entity can choose either degradation or liberation from the incarnation. If a living being makes some degree of spiritual progress in this present life, then in the next life he is allowed to continue from that point. The Lord tells his disciple Arjun in Bhagavad Gita, in this endeavor, Krishna consciousness, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the greatest type of fear, which is returning in a lower than human form in the next life. The soul may thus develop its inherent spiritual qualities through many lives until it no longer has to reincarnate in a material body, until it returns to the original home in the spiritual world. So this is a very powerful paragraph, and it begs a lot of questions. I'll briefly go through the paragraph and then we'll discuss some question answers. But it brings up an inherent question which everybody asks at one point: why good thing happens to bad people, and why bad thing happens to good people? But don't we realize sometimes we see some person who apparently is bad, like Dawood Ibrahim, for example. I'm just taking a name very loosely. But he's enjoying so much opulences in his life. Or we know so many people who are living a simple life, but they're enjoying so much. And while some other person who's a very honest, religious person, and he's just struggling to make his ends meet. And we're thinking, why good things happen to bad people? Or bad thing happens to good people in our life, right? And isn't it very amazing that some children, it was a joke, but it's a reality. One Sadhu Maharaj, he came here, he was telling me, he says that people sometimes yearn to take a birth as a cat or a dog in America. Right? Because the life of a cat or a dog in America is far more superior than a human life somewhere else. Right? I mean, they have so many clothes to wear, they go to the grooming. Even our own wife, sometimes, the amount of times they visit to the beauty salon, it is far less than how many times they take their dogs to the beauty salon. Right? Because cutting hair is like $75. So we say, okay, Mataji, can you just go once every 3 months rather than doing it every year, every month for $75? But the dogs, they take them, when they come in a mobile dog grooming station, right? And they'll take your dog inside, and they have made this nice facility, looks like a car wash. They put the dog in, and it will come out nicely trimmed up. With their, for cutting nail also they have service, right? So, and even here, if you see very expensive car, the dog is sitting like the boss is looking outside, and the owner is like a driver driving the car, isn't it? So, the dogs and cats, they really enjoy, right? But a child who's born in Ethiopia, the poor child, what future does it have? It doesn't even get food right from the birth. You'll see it's so sick. So then are we to say that God is completely unjust, right? Why is he putting one child in Ethiopia while he's putting another child in America, while he's putting third child in Karnataka, fourth child in Europe? Is he just randomly throwing children at people? He's so unkind and unjust? Or is there some kind of system to this whole thing, right? I mean, it is very hard to believe that if we think that God is the originator of everything, then it is very hard to believe that why is he so unkind? Our mother will never be so unkind to her children, right? That if she has 3 children, she will give kheer and pakodas to one, and the other one she'll only give, suki sabji or suki bhaji to eat. No, nothing like that. I mean, they all will get equal treatment as much as possible. So here, Prabhupada is writing about two children. One who gets birth in a family, a very well-to-do family, and the family is really looking forward to have a child. And then another one, when the girl gets pregnant, probably in her young age, the boyfriend abandons her, doesn't get married, and now she has to bear this child, and now she doesn't even have money. She has to do a Kmart job or something to make the ends meet, and cell phone bill, light bill, grocery bill. I've seen this kind of people here. I mean, especially very rampant in US. In India, you see a lot of poverty, but it is organized poverty. I mean, there's a family, a single mother, hard to find. Now it may be a lot in India, but I have seen so many families, and it touches me a lot that a father has 2 or 3 daughters, and he's doing a simple work. He's a clerk or something, and he always, he's older before his time, trying to worry, how will I marry my daughters into a nicer family? And he's always worried that maybe I'll never be able to find a good, wealthy home for my daughters. They also will have a simple life. This is the curse in India. Sometimes you feel that the parents have to go through, right? So why is this, right? Why is this happening? So apparently, if you just look at a snapshot, it looks like it's very unjust. Why is all these things happening? Right? But if you look at, if you combine 2 theories, the theory of karma and the theory of reincarnation, then suddenly these things start making sense, why these things are happening. Another important thing that Prabhupada wrote in this is, you may, because of our pious deeds in the past, get a very elevated birth here and be surrounded by a lot of facilities because of the pious birth. But how we utilize that facility to even advance further than what we are, is very important. If we don't, and we just, live like an animal after having all these facilities, and as we discussed the very first time, our activities are just like animals: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. That is the only 4 things we care about in our life. The 5th thing we don't even worry. Right? So maybe Prabhupada used to say the dog sleeps on the street and a human being can sleep on a $1,000 mattress. The amount of happiness they get after they fall asleep is same. It's not that the man sleeping on an expensive mattress is sleeping. Well, maybe sometimes he's not enough tired, he'll be tossing and turning on that expensive mattress, while the laborer or a dog who is running all day is having a nice, peaceful sleep, right? Prabhupada also used to give another example, which is very gross. The dog having sex in the street, in front of other people, is enjoying same as much as a man who is having the same thing in a very elaborate quarters with a very beautiful girl. At the end of the day, the pleasure is the same. What do you do with the things you got in your life is the most important, right? Based on our previous actions, certain things come in our life. What do we do with those things is the most important. We cannot choose our parents. We cannot choose anything in our life. Very few things we can choose. One thing we can choose in our life is how do we respond to the things which are present in our life. That is called responsibility. Ability to respond properly to each and every thing that is coming in our life. Extremely important. There is a book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Has anybody read that book here? In the beginning of that book, Stephen Covey, I think he is one of the most intelligent person, I think, around here who write this kind of books. Most of the books which are written outside, they show you the patchwork kind of thing. Like Dale Carnegie also writes books, right? But they show you how to artificially be nice to other people, or smile, bring good things for them, and so on. Artificially how to patch up so that things work out for you. But Stephen Covey goes few steps beyond that. He says, how do you change your internal character in such a way that you're becoming pleasing in a way? So you don't have to act anymore, right? Any given time anybody sees you, you are your original self and you're the pleasing self, right? So therefore he divided his book into 2 parts. One is called personal victory, another is called interpersonal victory. If your role is to have interpersonal victory, interpersonal is amongst 2 individuals, right? Then first of all you have to have personal victory in your life. So his 7 habits, the first 3 habits are for internal, right? And then once you master those 3 things, then you can go out and expect things to happen. So one of the first thing he says is proactive. The nature should become proactive. We should not be reactive. We have been born and subjected to so much environment, so many things in our life. Based on that, we have created certain equations in our life. That if this happens, I have to react in such a way. Right? कि कोई आदमी मेरे लिए, if some person does something for me like this, that means he must have some ulterior motive, or he must be wanting this. So I have to always react to him in this way. All these equations we have fit in our life. But we have to raise above and beyond that. We have to, every situation we have to step back. Rather than responding right away based on our previous experiences, we have to say, what is my core values in my life? How do I see myself behaving in my life? How do I want myself to be viewed by the people? I will only behave in that way. Whether it is going to give me temporary benefit or not, I have to develop my personal character. So whatever ingredients which we have around us, we have to decide how am I going to use that to attain the goal of my life. So it is very important in our life to have a goal. Nobody here drives without knowing what is the destination. But we all live our lives without knowing what I have to achieve in my life. Isn't that very funny? And even the goals we have, it is just superficial goals. I want to make a big house, big car, a lot of money. Those goals are not eternal goals. A goal should be one which gives the inner satisfaction, which gives us our identity. Who am I? Why do I have this human body? What is the goal of my life? How do I execute the goal of my life? What is my immediate goal? What is my long-term goal? How should I live my life in such a way that I became a role model, an example, at least for my children and my family, or my immediate family members, right? All these things. I'm just throwing things out. You can have very different goals also. And every day as we live, we analyze that, am I going closer to my goal or am I going away from my goal? As for example, as everybody was coming to Devendra Prabhu's house, at every turn we analyze, if I take this turn, I'll go further closer to his house or away. If it is bringing me closer, I'll take that turn. If it is taking me away, I will not take that turn. But in our life, so many things come. We never analyze whether I should do this, whether it will take me closer to my goal. Aaj subah uthe, somebody ka phone aaya, let's go to do this. Oh yeah, let's go to do this. I have time. We don't think whether by doing this it will take me closer to the goal or away from the goal. So how we deal with the things which are in front of us is extremely important. It will evolve us either or it will degrade us. Right? Prabhupada was saying, the getting human birth is very rare. We get, based on our previous karma, the facilities around us. Now it is incumbent upon us how we utilize that facility to either evolve us beyond this human birth, right? So that to liberate us from this very painful birth and death again and again. Because punarapi jananam punarapi maranam, it's not a very nice to take birth again and death, die again. The biggest fear in anybody's life is death. And why death? Because we will lose everything that we worked hard for, right? Everything that we worked hard so much, it's all going to go away when we die. And isn't that funny? It's like making sand castles. When the children make sand castles, the parent thinks that's a childish activity to do when they get attached to the sand castles. But then we also make sand castles in a different way, right? We work so many hours to make the bank balance, which will, when we die, God knows who will enjoy that, right? And probably it will be enjoyed in a way we don't even want it to be. Right? Everybody knows, right? The property that we have, when we die, if it is not passed on to the children properly, the government will come and take a very big chunk out of that as tax from the property. So there is something called a living trust, and you have to put the property in living trust and make your child a part of the living trust. When it is transferred from parent to the child to the living trust, there is very minimal tax. But if it is not, and if your child is just an inheritor, they will take a big chunk. And if the child doesn't have the money to pay that tax, the government will take out the property. All this house that we worked hard to make, a $500,000 or $1 million house, if we don't know the simple useless rules, the child will not be able to enjoy, right? And your dad, you don't even know what's going on, right? So the point I'm trying to make is the important thing that Prabhupada wrote here, that the current life which we are having is based on our previous karma. All the actions that we do has equal and opposite reaction. Some actions give results right away. Some actions take time to fructify and give results. For example, if we drink water, our thirst gets quenched right away. So that's instant reaction to the action. But if I slap somebody, that somebody will wait for a right time to slap me back. That's taking some time. Or like in Indian movies, the show, right? Amitabh Bachchan's father is killed by someone, but he's too small, so he has to wait till he grows up. And when he grows up, he'll create Shanti construction and then he'll destroy Sanjeev Kumar, right? So it takes some time for it to fructify, right? So one day we'll have a session just on karma. I have a nice presentation on karma, what different type of karmas we have, how do we negate karma and so on. But here let's just basically talk about that there is karma, and then based on the karma we get all the facilities in our life. And reincarnation is when this body is no longer useful to us, the soul gets out of this body, and then based on its desires in this body, Krishna will give him another body to enjoy those desires. So, for example, I have this human body, I have certain desires to enjoy myself, but I am not able, my body is now no longer capable to fulfill the desire, so I will leave this body. According to my desire, Krishna will not interfere with me. Whatever I want, Krishna will give. According to my desire, he will give me another body, but in that body, the things that will come around me will be based on my previous karma. Okay? And then I'll use those things, those facilities, and try to fulfill my desire. And then again I have other desires, so when I leave my body, I'll get another body suitable. 8.9 million species, 8.4 million species Krishna has created. There's 8.4 million different desires a person can have. It's 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. There are 3 modes, we'll explain later, but 8.4 million different desires and 8.4 million bodies. So because you see, each and every body has some capability to do something very nicely. Like a dog has a smelling, cat has something else, rat has something else, pigeon, tree, everybody has a speciality to enjoy one particular thing. So whatever kind of enjoyment desire we have, we get that kind of body. To ask you, let me give one more example before I go here. If Indian movies are like 3 hours, and I was very attached to Bollywood, and believe me, I still might be. But since I came to US, I never had 3 hours to watch it. I've been told that the movies have now become shorter, but I cannot trust them.
Fast forward the songs.
Fast forward the songs, that's like 30 minutes out, right? And they used to advertise the trailer, fighting, comedy, songs, emotions, that's how they used to advertise, right? So you can fast forward the things you don't like. Anyway, if you go into the movie and enter it during the intermission time, after intermission, you may see that one person is coming and using a gun and killing other person, right? And you must be thinking, this person must be villain, this person is so bad, he's coming and he's shooting people. But if you would have watched the first half, you would have found out that this person who's shooting is a police inspector in plain clothes, and he's been subdued a lot, and now he has got chance to get even with the villain, and he's killing the villain, right? But we did not know the previous story. So right now we're thinking, why is bad thing happening to an apparently good person as I think he's a good person, right? So this is the whole theory of reincarnation and karma. We don't know what we have done in our previous lives. It is stored in our mind, in our intelligence, and there is some accounting system which carries on with us. And there is a complex equation of karma that keeps on happening. And on basis of that, we get our results. Does this make sense a little bit? So, let's discuss some of the questions here. There is one discovery here since can we mention some inequalities we find in life among different people in their enjoyment and suffering? One equality I will tell you right away, and then I'll open up for other people. In India, maybe it is because of the British rule or what, but everybody wants to become fair. And they have cream called Fair and Lovely also. It's an obsession for Indians to become fair, right? And so, a lot of people, they find this is an inequality, that this person is fair, I am not fair. And they always want to be with fair people. And they always think fair is good, right? So, this is one of the inequality that I have seen always, right? And that is our kind of, so any other inequality that we think in our life. Another thing is more money, less money, right? Another thing that we see as an inequality which is born out of like karma. What other inequalities we see?
Some are more intelligent,
Some are more intelligent, some are not. Yeah. I'll tell you one more thing. Some people get to go to IIT, some people don't, for example. And it is, I have found so many children from village, they are extremely brainy. I mean, they are so intelligent, you cannot believe it. But unfortunately, they never got chance to go to school. Unfortunately, they never had parents or relatives who can tell them that, beta, after 12, there is an IIT. I'll tell you one thing, which is my own, it's a regret I have. When in India, after 12, you get to choose what line you want to take, right? So I topped in the school in 12th. When I went in to fill my forms, in which I have to go. Everything was open. Electronics, medicine, electrical, all lines were open. All colleges were open of Gujarat. I could have chose any college, any line. But I didn't have anybody to guide me at that time. My parents had very little clue what I should become. The only thing they knew is engineer is good. Okay. I had one cousin who was like 4 years or 5 years older than me. He had become a mechanical engineer. And he was working for Gujarat State Fertilizer Company and he was making 3,000 rupees. This is 1988, I'm saying, salary. At that time, 3,000 was really good salary. So I was thinking, he's really settled. So what I did, I went in and filled out mechanical engineering, which I regret till now. Cannot change it. Okay? But that was, as you said, my destiny probably, right? So, and so many intelligent people, Prabhuji, like this, who could have gone to IIT, who could have gone to this, who could have gone to that, but unfortunately, they had a family to take care, they cannot go to IIM after IIT, or they had one or the other thing. So, any other?
Some people have kids, other don't.
Yeah, some people have kids and some other don't, right? And the ones who don't, they feel so sad. And ones who have, they're thinking, how can I give it to? Any other inequality we see around us?
Health-wise.
Health-wise, right? Some people are very healthy. One thing I feel very bad about is that some people who can eat anything and they will not gain any weight. And I eat just little bit, it will show up on my body. Now I have to keep watching what I eat, right? Some people will keep on eating 20 gulab jamuns every day and they have no sugar, no cholesterol, nothing. And man, other people, even if they eat, कहते हैं पानी पिएंगे, even if they drink water, घी का काम करेगा. It reacts like it is drinking ghee. And even some people, अगर घी पिएंगे तो will act like water. They don't need anything out of it, right? Another inequality which we find is some people have hair, no, some people don't have. That's a big problem which people have. There's a big business out. I'm just making it a joke out of it, but this all, the looks, they say 6 things are predestined, you cannot change. The intelligence, the money you get in your life, the beauty, the parents, the wife you get, and the fame you get in your life. It's all predestined based on your previous karma. The way the karmas is arranged in our life, 99% of our things are pre-arranged. If you even go back and take an inventory, how many decision points you have in your life? Very little, right? Very little. Only 1% independence we have. How can we act and what do we want? So, what is the best way? The best way is we take whatever is coming in our life rather than feeling irritated about that. इससे कहाँ मेरा शादी हो गया और मिली होती तो अच्छा होता. हमारे गुजराती में एक कहावत था, पार का बहिरा सोने गमे. There was one play. पार का बहिरा सोने गमे means दूसरे की वाइफ सबको अच्छी लगती. They always think that लड्डू दूसरे की थाली में बड़ा है. But whoever, even people right now, they are thinking Aishwarya Rai is so great, right? Only Abhishek Bachchan knows, what great she is. He must be thinking how to get rid of her, right? So only so far we think that it is great on the other side, right? So the thing is, you accept whatever is coming in our life, right? If we have dissatisfaction, that dissatisfaction is like an itch. If a mosquito bites us, the best way to get rid of it is not itch at that point. But if we itch a little bit, the itch will grow bigger. If you itch more, the itch will be bigger. You itch more, finally you take off the skin, still the itch will not go away. But if you just tolerate itch for a few minutes, it will go away on its own. Similarly, all the dissatisfaction which is coming from the things which are just there destined, you have to just tolerate it. And while tolerating it, we have to see how can I make the best out of the bad bargain I have. Prabhupada always said, life in this material world is a bad bargain. We have to see how can I do the best out of this bad bargain. Okay?
So,
Yeah,
actually, this thing about predestined that you
Yes.
mentioned, but now it's a very big business for people to tell others, what you're predestined, even over here on TV. You have
Oh yeah, Babaji is coming, Prem Jyotish.
Prem Jyotish. In India, that business, in my lifetime, I've seen that business grow so many times.
Always grows.
What do you think about that?
I'll tell you, there is another saying in Gujarati, Lobhya hoy tyan dhutara bhukhe na mare. Lobhya is greedy people. As far as we have greedy people, dhutara means people who tug other will never go hungry. Right? So as far as there is inherent greed to get more than I want, or more than I can get, or get easily, the people's business will thrive. This kind of people who are now, क्या बोलते हैं उसको लूट लेते हैं पैसा जिससे. See, if this thing, that helping like Prem Jyotish, for example, if he was a proven theory, a proven technology, then each and every person coming to him should be successful, है ना? और अब तक तो उसको फिर एडवर्टाइज लेके लोगों से पैसा लेने की जरूरत नहीं था ना, वो भी मुफ्त में कर सकता है. But he is also cannot make his thing work on him, कि उसके लिए भी पैसे बरस नहीं रहा है. He has to also work, right? So this is all because we have unsatiated greed in our life. We always take shelter of these people. And मैं आपको अभी गारंटी देता हूँ. Actually, there is a movie which came out just few months ago about a person who himself, he was a reporter or something. He went and started dressing as a yogi.
Right.
And he started blessing people, and he has a big following. And he filmed this whole thing, and he showed that how fallible this whole thing is. मैं अपनी बात करता हूँ प्रभु जी, seriously. We started this program in October 2003 in Harrisburg. It has grown. There are a lot of people coming. Sincere devotees have come, right? So they think I'm a devotee. So sometimes they say, Prabhuji, please bless me. Yeah, ये हो रहा है, I'm going for this. So I say that I'll pray to Krishna for you. कभी-कभी अच्छा हो जाता तो they think, Prabhuji, आप जो बोलते हैं वो सच है. मैं सच्ची बोलता हूँ. And I myself know that I have no capability like that, right? But they think that, Prabhuji, whatever you desire is happening. And whatever you're saying is happening. So please pray for me. Prabhu, ऐसा कुछ है ही नहीं. I'm telling you, randomly you start blessing people. Okay? In your one Sunday, just go to some Hindu, put some dadi, wear orange clothes and keep blessing people, huh? That you will have children. Suddenly somebody will have child. Babaji, आपके आशीर्वाद से बेटा हो गया. Now Babaji is famous. They'll tell 10 more people. This is how it goes, Prabhu. Okay?
That's a true story that you told about that person.
Actually, एक आप ये बात करें, दूसरा अभी मैं दिल्ली को बिलोंग करता हूँ. दिल्ली में अब जैसे शादी वादी होती है तो अब वो SMS पे गुड़ मिला देते हैं. तो दिल्ली में क्या है कि ये जो ट्रेंड पिछले 20 साल में बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया है, और वो भी बहुत मैचिंग भी बहुत ज़्यादा हो रही है और डिवोर्स रेट भी बहुत ज़्यादा है. सो एक मतलब जो यू सी के जो हमारे लिटरेचर है उसमें लिखा हुआ है प्रीडेस्टाइन्ड है, और डिस्पाइट दैट ऑल दिस इज
प्रीडिस्पाइंड है. हमारे गुजराती में एक और कहावत है कि आपकी लाइफ में डेस्टाइन से किससे गोदे खाने आपको, पर कितने खाने वो भी डेस्टाइन है. तो कभी कभी भगवान कृपा कर देते, वो छोड़ के चली जाती है, छोड़ के चला जाता है. कभी कभी भगवान नहीं करते हैं तो they stay for the full life. Okay? Actually, this kundali is a right business. Okay? But you need to have a person who knows the science properly. That this kundali happens. The way this material world operates is Krishna has created certain rules. All the planets, they arrange themselves in a certain way. All the devatas, they have a destined role in your life. All the planets have gravitational pulls. So based on how they're aligned, everybody has a different effect of pull. That's why they wear some stones, right? If some planets want them to get married. So, I mean, it's a perfect science, but there is nobody perfect down there to use it. So now the question is, if everything is predestined, why is there divorces? The destiny shows how much happiness and distress you will get. Okay? The destiny doesn't mean that if this wife was in your destiny, she will always remain with you. There's always a separation also in the destiny. The unhappiness or distress comes by the avenues of separation or losing something and so on. And that is the fear we always have, that I'll lose something, right? Money. In a person who is walking, who's like a bhikhari, when he walks, he is carefree. But a lala who is carrying $200,000 with him, he'll walk very safely, right? So the more you have, the more you're fearful of losing. And because through that, the pains and miseries come. So one who is bhikhari, for him pain and misery will come in the form of he will not get something to eat, or he will not get a new shirt. But the person who is very wealthy, for him the pain will come as if he cut his hair, or he did not have the AC on, or his wife left him, or something like that. So everybody has a different ways how the miseries will come to them. So having a wife or husband together is I'll let you decide whether it's misery or pleasure. And when they go away, according to our own relationship with them, it's a misery or pleasure, also destined for us to come in. It has been experience of a lot of acharyas and philosophers and thinkers that if we do not try to swim upriver, upstream, and try to counteract the things which are coming in our life, but accept them in the right positive way, our life is more peaceful and more happy. The more we try to retaliate to the things that happens in our life, the more the life becomes mess. Any other questions or comments? I'm coming to an end time. I would like to continue discussing more on this karma and reincarnation, but this is like a very explosive topic. I'm very surprised you don't have many questions.
Probably lack of knowledge, I guess.
Oh, I don't think so. That brings more questions. Yes,
So
Mataji.
how can you change your destiny? Like, let's say, you did something in your past life which wasn't good and now you're suffering. So
Yes.
how can you change? Just praying is that
Yes.
the answer?
No, not just by praying. A man is, there's a saying that man is an architect of his own destiny, right? So based on our previous activities, we have certain things that has come in our life. But now we have a human body, we have human intelligence and consciousness, that how can I live this life, right? So the Vedic scriptures show how do we live. But forget even Vedic scripture. Let's just throw the whole religion business out of this thing, okay? Just if we decide that I have to act in a certain way, in a proper way, be kind to everybody, be nice to everybody, lead a very pious life or a dutiful life, that itself will make sure that we have right kind of karmas and activities going on in our life. As we do the right activities, the right results will come in our life. So now we are sowing the right seeds. जब पोया पेड़ बबूल का तो आम कहाँ से होए? There is a saying. Babul is like a पेड़ with a lot of kante, thorns. So when you put the seed of a thorn, you cannot expect after 5 years that mangoes will start coming out. So today, if we start sowing the seed of right activities, the right way we behave, right, then the right things will start coming in our life. That is how we change our future life. So now the question is, can I change my destiny? Yes, we can change the destiny. The way we change our destiny is that a person, when he goes into the prison, Prabhupada is writing here that a person cannot go into the prison on his own will. If we do bad things, we can go into the prison. But once we go into the prison, if we have 20 years of imprisonment, if we behave properly, the jailer or the judge can say, okay, instead of 20, you can live here 13 and you can come out, right? Similarly, in the rule of karma, if we are living in a certain way, in a pious way, and we have blessings of so many acharyas and Vaishnavas, and by Krishna's blessing, we behave in a Krishna conscious way, a lot of miseries and pains which were destined to come because of our previous karma, they get bifurcated. And there is a saying that the pain of getting chopped by a sword will be substituted by the pain of getting pricked by a pin only. Suli ka ghas sui se jayega, talega. So, by leading a pious life, and I'm throwing away the religion from here. I'm just saying just leading a dutiful pious life, it helps. Now, we bring in the Krishna conscious philosophy. So now by leading the life the way it has been prescribed in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, by becoming Krishna conscious, we try to make a very bright and beautiful future for us. The best future that comes out of it is we don't have to again and again come in a human life or an animal life. We can just leave this material world and go back where do we belong. But right now it may seem like a fairy tale, right? That, oh, you're living in heaven and now you're in hell. But let's just not so much worry about it. But if we do the right karma based on Krishna consciousness, we will be changing our future slowly and slowly, one step at a time. Every day is an opportunity to change our life. Every day.
Can I ask you, like, this two things,
Yeah.
doesn't really go together.
Uh-huh.
One thing we are saying that we are, living our life, bad life. Say somebody is living bad life.
Okay.
He's living bad life because he has done something in the past.
Yeah.
And other thing is saying that some good person who is really good, he's been doing very good throughout, I know or whatever, and still he's living bad life. And then we blames that he's living bad life because of his past.
Mm.
And then on the other hand, we say that if we do good, and that's what he's been doing for throughout his life since we know, still he's doing bad, that, good thing happens with the bad people and bad thing happens with the good people.
Mm.
So,
How do we reconcile both, right?
Yeah.
The way we reconcile both, Prabhu, is we have gone through many incarnations. One of the slok Krishna says in 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is, Arjun, you and I both have taken many births. You have forgotten all of them, I remember all of them. We have gone through series of births. And God knows what kind of karmas we have done in all those births, right? Each and every karma, they don't fructify in a certain period. Some takes a long time. I'll give you a small story if you have time. Dhritarashtra asked the same question to Krishna. That, tell me one thing. Why did all my 100 sons die? I mean, as far as I know, I was a very pious king. He was so pious that he had audience of Krishna. He was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? So why did I suffer so much? Why was I blind since my birth? So Krishna says that looking at your previous births, many births ago, you were a hunter. And you were a hunter, and at that time, you had casted a net to catch pigeons. And he had casted a net full of fire. So there was a group of pigeons, and they had 100 children, and all 100 children were caught in there. Okay? And while the parents tried to save the children, their eyes got burned because of the fire. So you had done karma over there. So he says, then why do I have to wait so far? And he says, because in order for you to get that, you killed those 100 children, let's I'm very loosely saying, you killed those 100 children, so now your 100 children has to die. But to get a child is a pious karma. So you have to go through so many lifetimes so that you can amass enough pious karma that you can have 100 children first. So now in this birth you had amassed enough pious karma that you had 100 children. So now you had 100 children. Now that bad karma you had done is ready to give you the fruit in this life. So the first fruit it gave is you have a blindness. And second fruit is that your children got killed in Kurukshetra. So everything comes, and that's when Krishna says in 4th chapter, Gahana karma no gati. The gati of karma is very complex. Akarmasya iti bodhavyam, karmasya iti bodhavyam. It's very hard to understand what is the right karma. Karma is very complex, right? So when we see somebody who is leading a good life but certain bad thing is happening in his life, right? It could be possible that many don't know when he has performed those karmas. But just because he is leading a good life, there are two kinds of karma, prarabdha karma and instant karma. Instant karma, you do some good things and you get instant result of those good things. But certain good things you do, you get delayed result out of that. Sometimes it doesn't follow first in, first out, the accounting system, or last in, first out. It has its own complex equation. Right? So therefore, sometimes we see a very good person sometimes suffering. It may be due to some real bad karma that he has done in the past life. But now, as he's suffering, Krishna says in Gita, a person should think that as I'm suffering, my bad karmas are cutting, and he becomes happy. And as he is enjoying, he should become worried that my good karmas are getting used up. So I should not become too much intoxicated in enjoyment. I should live in equilibrium. Does that help? And as we discuss more, I think it will become more clear.
So I have a question here. Earlier you mentioned about being pious, My understanding was that the only way to change our destiny, in fact, is to surrender to Lord Vishnu. Because without that, there's no other way. In fact, even, let's say, for some quirk of my destiny, I'm suffering a lot right now. But then because for some good intelligence, I decide to be still being nice and being pious, just hoping that whatever suffering I have, that suffering will be neutralized. That generally doesn't happen in most of the times. And then we get a little frustrated, maybe sometimes we even lose faith actually. It happens to a lot of people. Actually, what I'm doing here is that I'm accumulating some good karma in this life so that in future I might get a better life. But the only actual way, my understanding, is to neutralize whatever predestined for us is to surrender completely to Krishna, or Lord Vishnu, and that's the only way, in fact, which has been prescribed in Shastras. Is that right, Prabhu?
That is true. The reason when I said doing past activity, at that time I was just trying to loosely explain how to change the destiny by throwing away religion. Because religion, I did not want to keep it in the picture. But if you go to the actual Krishna consciousness philosophy, right, the only way to have a brighter future is to get rid of this material world. As far as we have good karmas or bad karmas, we will suffer. Because when the good karmas are used up, you will again come back here and you will have to again lead a life, which is a painful life of birth, death, old age and disease. When we surrender to Krishna, right, Krishna personally starts orchestrating things in our life. And even the bad karmas that we have done in the past, He will neutralize it in some way. He will give us the pain in such a fashion that our surrender to Him gets more and more stronger. As we surrender more to Him, eventually He will pull us out of this material world. And when we get pulled out of this material world, we'll go back to our original situation, original home, which is the spiritual world. We all belong to the spiritual world. We are spiritual sparks. But unfortunately, we have come into this material world. So that is absolutely true, Prabhu, that by surrendering to Vishnu or Krishna, He'll pull us back into the spiritual world. But just to loosely explain how to change the future or how to have a better life, we need to. That's the reason I said that we need to do that.
Actually, if my understanding is right, like, by surrendering to Vishnu, it's not only our karmas are neutralized, but even if we're suffering, we're facing bad karma,
He will
they don't
negate-
cause suffering.
Yeah, he will negate it in such a way
Right.
that it will not interfere with your surrender to him. For example, जो भक्ति के path पे चलता है, whoever walks on the path of bhakti, bad things will happen to him in such a way, but they will happen in such a way that it will not shake his faith from Krishna. It will not put him away from the path of bhakti. Whereas other people, sometimes we see they started chanting, they come, they do arti, they have vigraha at home, but then certain things will happen in their life. They'll stop everything, they'll put it away, and then they'll start, fighting materially. But if we are very dedicated, we are surrendered to Krishna, we are on the path of Krishna consciousness properly, then bad things which are going to happen in our life, Krishna will orchestrate in such a way that even when they happen, he will send a certain support system, or he will do it in such a way that we do not go away from the path of bhakti. As a matter of fact, if we very patiently analyze the bad things that happen in our life, it is a kind of a push that Krishna is giving us to be more surrendered to him and to go more closer to him in a faster way. Right?
And what is the most encouraging thing which Krishna promises in Bhagavad Gita is Salpasya
Sal-
dharmasya trayato
Mahato
mahatomaya.
bhaya.
Even little progress in this path can, make
Save us from the biggest danger. So Prabhupada writes that over here. What Krishna meant over there is, this human birth is a very rare opportunity. A little progress on the path of bhakti in this human body will save us from the biggest danger. What is the biggest danger? That when we leave this body, we will not get another human body. If we get a body of a dog or a cat or an animal or a plant, then we have to evolve back to the human birth, which is thousands and thousands of years. We don't know when. Right? So, what is the biggest fear at the end of the body is we do not get the next birth, which is an appropriate birth. So, whatever little bhakti or Krishna consciousness we have achieved in this birth, Krishna will protect it. And next birth he will give us in such a place that we can advance from that point itself. So, yes, Mataji.
So when does the reincarnation kind of stops for one's soul? Like for how long it will keep on
Yes,
going?
very good question.
So
So,
what can we do to go away from all that reincarnation?
yes, so
this-
Krishna explains in
Yeah.
fifth chapter of Bhagavad Gita about karma yoga. Okay? So how do we stop this reincarnation? As far as we have karma in our bank account, the reincarnation will keep happening to negate the karma. Whether it is good karma or bad karma. Right? When karma becomes zero, that is when reincarnation stops. That is when we don't need to take any body any further. So how do we make the karma zero? Okay? There is 3 different type of karma. One is karma, which is all the good activities, pious activities. One is which is vikarma, which is all sinful activities. And third is akarma, which is neither good, neither bad. It is done for the pleasure of Krishna, which is called bhakti. Okay? So Krishna is saying in 5th chapter, either you do karma, which is past activities, you still get fruits for that. You have to go to heaven to enjoy, or you'll get a lot of money to enjoy, whatever. But you have to enjoy, and when it is over, you have to again keep leading your life. If you do bad activities, you have to still enjoy. But if you do all activities for me, for my pleasure, right, for Krishna's service, for example, if we think that my family is Krishna's family, right, and it is, my wife is Krishna's daughter, my children are Krishna's children. If I take care of them, so then that karma, maybe it's a pious thing, but it becomes akarma, non-fruit bearing, right? For example, I'll give you a small example. If you give food to a hungry person, it's a pious activity, it becomes a karma. You get good credit and you will enjoy something in the future, okay? So maybe if you don't have an appropriate body to enjoy, you'll have to take another body to enjoy the fruits of that good karma. But now, if you make Krishna Prasad, and instead of offering that hungry person as a religious activity or a pious activity to gain karma, you say, oh, he is Krishna's child, it is my duty to serve him, let me give him Krishna Prasad. So for the pleasure of Krishna, that Krishna is my father, Krishna is his father too. If I feed him, Krishna will be happy. So make Krishna happy if I feed him. Now I am doing akarma. It is not for my happiness or not to gain it. And when I do akarma like this, all my previous karmas, as we are living, they get negated because all their reactions will come. And then I am not building new stock of karma because I am doing all akarma. That is saying doing bhakti. It's on the path of bhakti. So one should say, my family is Krishna's family. So whatever I am doing for Krishna, for my family, is again on the platform of akarma because I am doing for the pleasure of Krishna. The work that I have to do, whether doctor, engineer, whatever IT, I have to support my family, which is Krishna's family. So I have to honestly go out and do the work. So it is like doing work for Krishna itself. Just like Arjun, Krishna was saying that you have to fight for me because I am saying so, right? If you fight thinking you are the king and you want the kingdom, you will get reaction. But if you are fighting thinking because I have told you to fight, then it is called akarma, right? So whatever we do for the pleasure of Krishna, which is called bhakti, whatever actions we perform in the mode of bhakti is called akarma. That doesn't create a reaction, right? So to get out of this body, we have to walk on the platform of bhakti, which is for the pleasure of Krishna. Everything we do should be done for the pleasure of Krishna. Even when I take bath for the pleasure of Krishna because Krishna wants me to be always clean, right? You can do anything. I mean, Arjun fought for Krishna. He ruled the kingdom for Yudhishthira Maharaj ruled the kingdom for Krishna as if he is representative of Krishna. We have to see that I am the father of this child. This child was sent by Krishna to me. I have to take good care of this child as I am serving service of Krishna. When you scold that child thinking that way, there is no karma through that. Does that help you a little bit? And as we go further, we'll elaborate this on. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
One day, Prabhuji, we should do that.
We'll do the karma presentation.
Universe, that
Uh-huh.
that will be good.
Any other question, comment? Or? Yes, Mataji, bol.
There is a human tendency of blaming
Yes.
somebody different
Yes.
for what happened.
Yes.
It says here, explain why each person is responsible for each karma. So, how does this?
How do we see that, right?
Yeah, because I mean, if it's a human tendency, it can be anything. It can be in many fields
Yeah.
that a person blames some other person.
I may also think that I never became a doctor because my parents never guided me and I keep on blaming them
Yeah,
for
it's
me.
always.
Yeah, something.
In
Yeah.
some way or
We
the
always
other,
want to
someone
find somebody
else is
responsible
blamed.
for the
Right.
situation we are in,
Right.
right? Because we are perfect.
Yeah,
Right.
but then then here it said that it's only yourself who is blamed for it.
Yes,
so then
Mataji.
how does these two theories
Reconcile.
work
So,
together?
Mataji, the tendency to blame other people, right? We try to find out a scapegoat or who is responsible for action. But really speaking, if somebody is coming and slapping me, for example, or giving me misery, another regular real life example. If we are driving and we are standing, somebody comes from behind and bumps us, our car. Now we blame that person. And when we go home or we talk to the insurance company, we say, I was just standing peacefully at the red light and some person came and he couldn't brake and he hit me hard and it's very irresponsible driving of that person, right? But if you look deeper into the theory of karma, nothing can come to you unless you are entitled for that, right? Everything that comes to you is on the basis of karma, previous karma. So now you're saying that you were supposed to get that misery in your life. Now somebody has to become a tool to give you that misery. So that person who did not brake properly became a tool, an agent for the material nature to come and give you that misery. So now is it good? Now with this understanding, is it good for me to blame that other person that he came and banged into me? Yeah, I mean he came and banged into me. But it was my karma that I was supposed to get some misery that way. So that's why he came and he banged. And if he did not...
That's how you apply always to yourself?
Yes, Mataji. You always apply that I am the architect of my future. Whatever good or bad is happening to me, only I am responsible for that. Unless we come to terms to that, our life will be full of dissatisfaction and we will be always trying to blame somebody. Right? It's very easy now to think, oh, I was right, but it is his fault, it is his fault, it is his fault. It is my wife's fault, my husband's fault, right?
उससे शादी नहीं होती था
I think that's the only way to be peaceful too, because
Yeah.
I think regardless of whatever we do,
Yeah.
we'll have troubles in our lives, But the only way we can achieve peace in our lives is to understand that everybody else is being a tool of
It's
my own
agent.
karma.
Oh.
And that way we can forgive people. By
Exactly.
forgiving them, we could be peaceful.
We come on the platform of forgiveness then. Okay? And I will say this story again. Did I share this story? I went to Amish people with Devkinandan Prabhu who had come here. So this is the first time I went to Lancaster. I've been living here for 10, 12 years. I've never been to Lancaster. Seems like we can only go sightseeing when somebody comes from India. Right? Even Niagara Falls, when my aunt came, I took her to Niagara Falls. That's when I saw Niagara Falls. Otherwise we are busy, helping IBM make money. So I took him to, they were taking us to a tour. There was a class, there was a school where shootings happened just a year ago or so. When some man came and he shot so many Amish children and then he shot himself.
Right.
So the guide was telling us that all the Amish family who lost their children in the shootout, they went to the house of the shooter. And they went to that lady, the widow, and said that we have forgiven your husband. The third day they went, right after the cremation, their burial, they went to the house of the widow. And they told the widow that we have forgiven your husband already for what he did to our children. Now we want to see how we can serve you because you also lost your husband. Right? So we want to do things for you. Can we come and repair something in your house? If anything breaks in your house, you call us. We'll come and give you this. We'll come and give you this. We'll come and give you corn. We'll cook for you. We'll do this. This forgiveness they showed to that woman made them free. Right? Otherwise, they will be full life. They will be thinking this white man came and killed my children. Right? Not only that, it set free the other woman also, the widow. She is now driving them around and doing so much service for them. The two families have come so closer. Right? So the power of forgiveness is tremendous. Unless we forgive, we cannot be free. So when Mataji says, how can we stop taking new body? We have to start forgiving. Unless we forgive, we'll have scores to settle with other people. And to settle score, we'll have to keep again and again and again and again and again. I'll give one example and I'll stop here. If somebody comes and slaps us, one action is you slap him back. Another action is you think bad about him. Don't do anything. If somebody is real tougher, you cannot slap him back. He'll slap you again. So you think bad about him. Bhagwan ko pradhan. Bhagwan uska gaadi bigad do. Right? And third is you don't think anything about it. Okay? So if you just tolerate the slap and don't think anything about it, he gave you a reaction of a previous karma that he slapped you. But if you slap him back or you think bad about him, you're creating one more transaction with him which needs to be fulfilled now. So now you have to take another body to fulfill that transaction. But now you said, okay, Krishna, I forgive him for him slapping me. Maybe because I might have done something in the past, he came and slapped me. If we think like that and let it go, now the transaction ends over there, right? कभी भी husband wife के बीच में बोला बोली होती है, how does it end? One person stops answering. That is when it ends. तब भी ज़्यादा it escalates. कुछ जवाब ही नहीं देते, you're not speaking to me. But eventually it dies down. When one person stops responding, it dies down, right? So it only stops when we think I am responsible and I forgive. Is that okay? You drawing my face? I always have to be careful when I see you doing something. Should we end here?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is hungry. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we'll have prasadam now.
Aarti karta.
Nursing Aarti? So there is nursing prayer.
There is a nursing prayer in every folder.
This nursing prayer is very powerful. If any time you have difficulty in your life, you should surrender to Lord Narsinghdev for help.
Kids can come here, everybody. All the kids.
Who wants to sing? The children should sing nursing prayer.
Come on,
so
everybody.
2-3 weeks you should sing nursing prayer, and every time you have to sing it. Even in your house you have to sing.
Jaya
Buddy, all glories to
नरसिंहदेव भगवान
की जय.
One year after we started our program, all the children, the first thing they learned was Narsingh Arti. So then couple kids went to India, their grandfather was having an open heart surgery. So when they went and they saw their grandfather, they immediately started saying, Dada, Dada, we'll sing Narsingh Arti for you. And they sang, and Dadaji started crying in the hospital. He says, nobody cared for me so much ever before. So it feels very nice. The children should learn Narsingh Arti, right? And if your parents give you trouble, you should sing Narsingh Arti. So then the Krishna will take care of your parents.
So excited.